We're going to begin this one where we left off on the last one. Back to, got all of our cardboard templates made and everything to start to mount this thing up. So going to pop them off, transfer them over to steel, and drill them out and see if we can get this thing fitted up. So without further ado, here we go. Alright, so the plan is to mount the compressor straight up and down, pull the belt from down here off of our tensioner, pull it up and around the pulley, and mount it here. Now, once I bolted my AC compressor back down, I didn't realize that it dips down below the bolt surface, so I'm going to end up having to basically make a bracket that bolts here and then make a spacer for the other side. That way it'll space both sides up evenly. And for this, the dipstick actually has got a little bracket here that attaches on the corner of the valve cover. So I'm going to have to open up a section somewhere right in here. I'll probably just kind of cut this bracket and angle it something like this. That way that dipstick will have room to come through somewhere through. I don't really remember how it goes. Somewhere like this, something like this. Okay, so yeah, it comes up like that. So I don't really know what I'm gonna have to do about that dipstick just yet. I'll worry about that after I get this bracket kind of roughly fabbed up. But anyhow, that's my plan. So we'll pull up here, we'll kind of eyeball it, see what it looks like here, see what we need to do here. Because this is a real pain in the ass to have to do by yourself, because this weighs 35 pounds by itself, and I'm pushing it against cardboard, so you know how sturdy that is. And I'm really just kind of having to eyeball all this because I don't have any help. So it's just the life of working alone. I'm used to it. Alright, so if we go firm against our bracket right here, looks like that would probably work right there. Not really touching a lot on the tensioner on this pulley, but on the other side I am. Did I drop it down or something? Maybe if I move it out. Let's see. If I move it out, I can drop it down just a little bit. That'll probably give me clearance for, that'll give me clearance for my dipstick to come up through there. So that may be the way to go right there. Looks like, I don't know, roughly a inch and a half. If I come out from there, I'm still hitting the crank pulley pretty good down there, and well, this might work. All right, so that's good on the back. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to extend this bracket out about an inch and a half. I don't know, maybe inch and a half, I guess. I'll extend this one out an inch and a half. Not real sure yet how I'm going to work out the dipstick and all that. If I can get the compressor mounted, first of all, and everything lined up, then I can start cutting away from the bracket enough to figure out what I got to do to get that dipstick on there. I'll work out something for that. I mean, if I have to, I'll just jam the dipstick down and have it come straight out the top like this. I don't know. I'll figure that out. The dipstick ain't going to stop me from getting this compressor mounted out. I assure you of that. So my next step, I'm going to pull all this stuff back off. Transfer the templates onto steel, extend them an inch and a half out. I will cut them out. I'll go ahead and I'll separate this one, that way it's a spacer. Get this ready, get it all bolted up back in place, and then I'll go ahead and just make a flat piece of plate right now for right here. And actually, I may make a piece that lines up with the bolt holes and go ahead and just kind of bolt it on. That way I can kind of sit it up here and get an idea for where I really got to be as far as bolting it all in place. Because once it all lines up, I can tack it in place. So next step, get all this stuff off, transfer all this to steel, cut it out, drill some holes, and then see where we're sitting here. So let's get cutting. All right, well, it would appear that I screwed up when I drilled my holes. No stranger to that type of crap happening. But if I set this thing up here, kind of about where I want, I did deliberately cut this one a little long on purpose, just so I could kind of set them on here, see how it was going to line up with once my bolt holes and everything were in place. So I want to do about a half overlap on this right here. That way when I burn it in, I can just kind of burn the two together real nice. So what I'm actually going to do right now is I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of line them up at the edge of the aluminum base there, because that's really as far as I need to go anyway. I'm not going to throw this piece out. I'm just going to I'm going to do it like this because it gives me more meat right here to re-drill it. So I'm going to set them up just like this. Set them like I said, right on the edge of the aluminum there, like that. I got about a half overlap here. It's in pretty good shape. I did go ahead and set this one up here. It's like I said, it's going to be just a spacer. The bolt holes line up just fine for it. Now, looking at it, I can trim it up just a little bit. I'm going to go in and make some marks on that to trim it up. And this one, I'm also going to go ahead and cut some off of this too. That way it's just not just so big and chunky. I don't need all this right here because without this whole piece of metal sitting on top, I'm not going to be welding it to anything right here anyhow. So it's essentially just going to weld to this outer bracket right here. And I'll basically be using these 4 bolts to hold the whole thing together, which will be more than plenty. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to kind of color out how I want to cut this right here. Then I'll go over there and I'll set this up and I'll get it set up and ready to drill. So we'll go from there. Well, here we go. Got our plate bolted onto our compressor. Got my bolt and my pulley there. Got our brackets kind of thrown on here and bolted in place. You see I threw 2 tack welds on them right there to kind of hold them in place. And I did kind of go ahead and trim it up a little bit. Got my shape a little bit better, a little something more that I might like anyway. Get a little of that just chunkiness off of there. Plus you can see down here I got to clear for that heater hose anyhow. So next up, I got to work on fitting this guy. So let me explain to you how we're going to work that out. All right, so first things first, and one of the things that I had to work out was the angle that the motor is sitting back. So I had to know, where these pulleys are. It's easy to say, oh, you set this where it's dead level, but if the pulley's not, the front of your motor is not going to be dead level at 90 degrees. So what I've got is this guy right here. This is Wixie digital gauge. I use this in my wood shop, so I just grab it. So it's already zeroed out, so I can roll it. I set it right here, and I'm at 85.5 degrees. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's see. Hang on here. 85.4 degrees. Now that's the angle on the face of the pulley there. Now I did go ahead and I checked it across on my alternator. It is essentially the same. It's 85.4 yeah, 85.3 on it. So that's a 1/10 of a degree. That's not an issue right there. So anyhow, I went ahead and I checked it. So about 85.4 degrees is what we're looking for here. Now, obviously, this plate is not. It is at 86.9 degrees. So that's not an issue though. They're bolted on nice and tight. That's all I need to know right there. So what I'm gonna do, I've got this cut where I think it should be able to sit right here, and I shut the compressor on top of this. At least that way I'm not trying to hold 35 pounds of weight while trying to work all this out at the same time. So I know that my pulley, the pitch of my pulley has got to be at about 85.4, somewhere right in there. Anywhere in that range within a 2/10 I'm good with. Maybe 3/10, 2 to 3/10 of a degree I'm good with. That belt's going to run true. It's going to be fine. So from what I can tell, I did set it up here once or twice already and just kind of eyeball it a little bit. And it looks like I need to bring my plate forward about 5/8 of an inch off of the face of this plate to match so my pulleys will all line up. So I got this piece of wood that I cut in my wood shop. I've got digital readouts on all my woodworking equipment, so I was able to make sure that this is dead on balls at 5/8 of an inch. So what I'll do is when I get it set up here in place, I'll set it against this plate, and I know that I should be able to set my other plate flush to this, and that should give me the, how far out that I need to come from the face of this to line up my pulleys. So what I'll do at that point is I'll go on, and once I get that 5/8 out, I'll go on and I'll sting it, and I'll put me a little tack, probably on the top. Then I'll put that Wixie gauge on there. I'll roll it until I get to my 85.4. Then I'll tack it at the bottom. So then our pitch will be right. So then we got to get our angle right. So what I'll do then is I'm going to put a straight edge, and I'm going to sit it on the inside of the groove on this idler and this pulley. This is basically my tensioner and the idler, and I will run that up, and it should land on the inside of my pulley for my compressor. Make sure everything's running nice and true straight across there. So what I'll do then is I can kind of roll it against these two tacks. I can kind of roll it, shouldn't have to roll it a lot, but I can kind of roll it however I need against those tacks so that I can stick a tack back here. So then once that tack is on there, I can knock this piece of wood out from under there, and then I can actually work on putting a belt on it, see how everything lines up. Now I already know that I'm going to have an idler pulley. I've already went and bought one. Basically, it's the same diameter as this idler right here. And it's for the right width belt. I've already kind of just set it up here before and roughly marked in the spot where I know that idler is going to have to ride. So my main thing right now is to get this all tacked in place, because if I can get this tacked in place with my pulley in the right spot, then I can go ahead and I can start lining up and mocking up my idler pulley. So hopefully you understand all that. If not, I'm just going to show it to you right now. So right there, I am nowhere near. I'm way too far out. That's getting pretty close right there. Obviously the pitch is way off right now, but let's see if I can get going on here. That's pretty good right there. That's about 5/8 right there. So if my other measurement was correct, and looking from right here, it looks like it's way off. Even if I pitched it right, I think it's way off. I may have to get a new plan here. The bottom of it looks like it's pretty close. And the bottom of it looks like it's way closer than the top. Let's see, even if I pitched it, which of course I can't because the damn bolt right there in the bottom's hidden. All right, so I'm gonna have to take that bolt out of the bottom so I can kind of move this thing around. Maybe this will help. Maybe that thing's kind of got it, kind of kicking it a little bit to one side here. Okay, so now I can pitch it at least here, see what I got going on. Oh, that's not looking too bad right there now. Wish I had some way I could clamp this thing. That would be abundantly swell. You know what? I didn't even turn the welder on. I guess at least I didn't get it all the way ready to weld before I realized it. There's no way.
What's moving about?
Just trying to figure out what I got going on here. This is proving to be much more difficult than I had thought.
I messaged the concrete guy.
The who?
The concrete guy.
Oh, good call. What the fuck is the easiest way to do this? Gotta be a better way, better way. Why is everything sitting as far away from me as it can be? Oh God, you shitty me. I'm not sure what the ancient Chinese secret's going to be to this. I'm going to have to cut this at an angle from here. So I get it set kind of like I need. Well, I had to stop filming while I did this because I try hard to keep my videos, kind of PG. I try not to cuss too much. That way, if kids want to watch it, or, it's not that big a deal. Some people don't care. Some people do. I try not to cuss too much. And I could really see where that was going just a little while ago, like really quickly. So I had to go ahead and pause the video for a little bit while I worked on this and tried to get it sorted out because there was some profanity and might have allegedly thrown a few things and had to walk away for a few minutes. But I did finally slay the beast here. As you can see, I got my belt on. It's lined up. Let's see here, I got all my angles good where they're supposed to be. I don't know if you can see that or not, but she's sitting dead on balls at 85.4 degrees. Same as this, 85.4 degrees. So I got it all set up there. I've even gone so far as I cut me a little wood dowel so I can put across this pulley, measure it from the outside edges of the pulley so I know that everything is true. My pitch is right. I'm true here. So finally, I've got this dude kind of all set up where he needs to be. So my next move now will be to go ahead. I will, because you see I've got my belt on, so I'll pop the belt back off of it. I will pop my, I'm going to take the bolts, take the compressor off of it. I'll take all this back off, pull the bracket down. I'm going to have to make a little cut down here where this bottom bolt is to cut out so I can access that bolt a little easier. So I'll go ahead and get all that final welded together. Then I'm gonna make some gussets for it. I don't know if I'm gonna weld them on just yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and get them made because my next move then will be to go ahead and set up for my idler pulley that's going to go right here. So let's get going.
There it is. Another testy project. Kind of getting over the hump a little bit. This definitely turned out to be more difficult than I thought it was going to be, and there is still a little bit more difficulty to come, as you'll see in the next one. Wrap this one up right now just because I try to keep the videos from being too awful long. So come back for the next one, guys. As always, like, subscribe. Thank you very much. Comment if you got questions. Hit a brother up. I love to communicate with y'all. So check me out in the next one.